Welcome to John S's Sports Channel, where we're going to go Championship Week 30 predictions, and we're going to straight into Friday nights with Blackburn versus Preston. Blackburn last time out, 2-1 defeat away at Bristol City. They really didn't shine as much as they have been doing, and they certainly didn't get the run of the green like they did. I think that free kick that they gave away, perhaps in previous games, would have probably have said, "Oh, he just caught the ball. It's fine. I know he had his studs up, but he got the ball, and it would have been not a free kick." Great place to give Scott Twine a free kick, isn't it? Not. They just didn't get the run of the green, and they probably deserved to come out on the wrong side of a 2-1 scoreline. On the other hand, Preston North End, 2-1 winners at home to Borough. However, Borough they were the better side. However, Borough, although they were the better side, they didn't take their chances. And it's all right having shots, but those shots have to be more on target, and more of those on target have to be converted into goals. Unfortunately for them, or fortunately for Preston, their defence managed to cope with the majority of them, all bar one, and Preston won 2-1. If you look at the last few games, Blackburn have slowed down, or they don't seem to be quite as energetic. They don't seem to be quite as in your face and pushing up the pitch. They seem to be a little bit pulling back over the last few games. Lose, win, win, lose, lose, lose for Blackburn. Preston lose, draw, win, win. They seem to have turned it around. They had a little bit of a blip just after somebody had commented on the channel saying, "You haven't seen Preston leap up the table." And they had been playing well. They'd started to play really well after having a poor period. And as soon as he said that, they started playing a bit average. And now they seem to have actually started to do well. So we've got Blackburn in 7th and Preston now in 15th. And they really have made that transition between that bottom 6, 7, 8, where they're all quite level. And they were sort of hovering on the outside of that, just a sort of top end of that level section. And now they're completely in that middle section, well away, I think, from them. They're on 37 points. Cardiff in 18th, so 3 places below them, are on 31. And the gap now, there is actually a gap opening up between Preston and that sort of stationary block of teams that all seem to be on the same number of points. So they're doing well. So how do we think this one's going to go? I think it's going to be quite a difficult one because on one hand, and we know that Blackburn are at home and they can get that they're more than likely going to get the run of the green at home. They usually do, or the last time out at home, 2-0 defeat at home to Coventry. Just didn't go for them, did it? But we know they can do well. Is this a blip? Are they about to turn it round? Perhaps they will. But I can't see them turning it round this week. I think this game is probably a game or two too soon for them because Preston have their tails up now and they're really getting into it. And I can't see them wanting to slow this impetus down. And I think that they will be indeed winning this one. It's just a case of how many. If you look at the scores, I think there's only one score I can give you, and that's going to be Blackburn 1, Preston North End 2. So on to Saturday's games, and Oxford versus Bristol City. A little bit difficult this one because Bristol City have been playing a little bit better of late. They've been a bit poor. Not really getting into the games quite as much as we would expect. I mean, if I go to the Coventry City, Bristol City, where Coventry won 1-0. 55% possession to Coventry, 16 shots, 10 shots to Bristol City. And this is the thing, 10 shots to Bristol City which was quite good from 45% possession. Perhaps a few more would have been better. But only 2 on target. And this is the sort of thing that's coming through. Not really. They score 1 or 2. How many scored over the last 6? 2, 1, 1, 1, 2, 2. You know, 1s and 2s, which are great. Don't get me wrong. But from those, they've got a draw, a win, a defeat, a draw, a win. It's a little bit up and down. And the problem here is Bristol City, I always say, they either turn up or they don't this season. And again, it seems to be continuing even now. They're a little bit inconsistent, to put it mildly. They can turn up, they might not. But more often than not, the bit of the team that doesn't turn up is defence. Seeing just 1 or 2 really strange movements from defence where they come out of position and you think, why are you doing that? And they've been punished for it. So Bristol City can be a little bit haywire in the defence. Oxford have absolutely nailed it, haven't they? They recently, since all the fuss with the manager, and I thought that was an odd decision. Hey, it seems to have been the right decision. So I was totally wrong. A draw, a defeat to Exeter, then a draw, a win, a draw. You know, they're doing really well. They're a little bit up and down. One would have expected them to beat a Stoke side that seem to be a little bit up and down themselves. 0-0 away. No harm in that. I think that Oxford are playing the better football. I think because they're at home, I'm going to go with Oxford 3, Bristol City 1. Just can't see Bristol City being. They need to batten down that defence, don't they? Have they improved it in January window? Not really to me. So yeah, I'll go with the 3-1. So let's go on with Plymouth versus West Brom. Plymouth in 5th, 110, drawn 14 and lost 5. Now obviously the Drawthorns thought part of it has been a bit of a joke. Has stopped being a sort of the running joke though, hasn't it? Plymouth in 24th, 1-4, drawn 10, lost 15. We have to look at this as far as their recent form. I really do think so, because Plymouth obviously changed manager. Let's try and start again, and West Brom again the very same thing. So we're starting afresh, trying to get a different style of football in. Plymouth draw, win, draw, lose, draw. Whereas West Brom win, draw, lose, win. And the last time out, Sunderland 2-2 away for Plymouth, and Portsmouth last time out for West Brom. Portsmouth at home. It was West Brom 5, Portsmouth 1. This is strange. Like, I'm not used to saying West Brom scoring 5. Yeah, so this is actually quite difficult. You would usually be saying, look at the table, 5th versus 24th, and you'd be thinking, no chance, absolutely no chance. But Plymouth are really good at home, always have been good at home. The support at home is brilliant, the noise is brilliant, the atmosphere is brilliant. They can pull that team. I mean, last year, 2 or 3 goals at home. Usually it was 3 goals at home. Even though they didn't win many, they were mostly at home, and at home they were really good. And they sort of got a little bit of that at the very, very beginning of this season, right in the first few games. And they seem to be sort of pulling back a few decent home performances, should we say, rather than results. they're all very mishmash, aren't they, these results? And trying to get a sort of statistical trend is absolutely impossible. And because they're also very 2-0 defeat to Borough for West Brom one game, and the next game a 5-1 win against Portsmouth, and you're thinking, why couldn't you play like that against Borough? I just like they can be so weird. The results here are so weird. I think both teams now want to settle down into a decent performance. I don't even think they're thinking at the minute, look, we need the results. Although West Brom would want them more from a trying to stay in the top 6, but then you've got Plymouth wanting them just as much just to get out of that bottom 3. So both of these can't afford to lose, and I think that's going to be the problem here. Both of these teams cannot afford to lose this game. I'm going to go with a result that mirrors that. I'm going to go with Plymouth 1, West Brom 1, and I'm going to surprise everybody. That's my joker for the day, I think. So, I'm going for a draw at Plymouth. Quite strange. Please do put your comments down below. Like I say, try not to dislike. That just messes up my YouTube, how YouTube sends the video out. And then I get no clicks and no views. Do a comment. Give me a comment. We'll discuss it like football fans. And I enjoy having a chat on in the comment section, as do many other people. So we'll do it that way. Have a chat and let me know what you think. So we move on to Watford Norwich, and Watford lose, draw, win, lose. They just don't seem to be hitting it for me. They're not. Sometimes they play some really classy football, and I've seen it. It's great to watch sometimes, but most of the time recently it's just been a little bit drab and not quite that interconnecting football that I was expecting from this side. Usually that it's possession football. In the past years it's been possession football. Don't score many, but they keep the possession brilliantly and they defend superbly. Certainly against the League One side, so you have to take out the Fulham 4-1 defeat, don't you? There's very few goals in these games. Probably 3 goals in that game. 2, 3. So it's usually been 2-0, 2-1, 1-1. Those sort of score lines. I think Watford are doing similar to they have in the past few years, but it's just not quite clicking quite as good as it has done in the past few seasons. Norwich, on the other hand, they've never been superb this season. They've been poor and they've been okay. At the minute, I would say they're in a bit of a doldrums. They're trying to get out of it. Have they started to come out of it? I think they played rather well again in the defeat away at Leeds. I think they actually played really quite well. And then it seemed to show in the last game against Swansea. 5-1 home win. So have they turned a corner? If any of these two teams have actually turned a corner and would win this one, I think it would be Norwich. So there's a possibility that my prediction is wrong and that it will be a 2-1 win to Norwich. However, I just can't seem to split these two. And when you look at them in the table, Watford 9th, Norwich 11th, I've decided that I can't really split them. I'm going to go with Watford 2, Norwich 2. But if anybody wins this one, I think it's going to be Norwich. Probably 2-1. I can't see it being a 3-1 or a 3-0. I would most likely go with a 2-1 if it wasn't a draw. So let's continue with Sheffield United away at Derby. Derby County versus Sheffield United. Sheffield United are in second on 58 points. Derby are now in 22nd and they've slipped into that relegation zone just underneath Portsmouth. 27 points in 22nd position. And the thing we notice with these is it tends to be I think either a defeat or a win. They don't really, and it's similar with several down there. I think Luton are the same. They tend to win or lose it, like mainly lose it. But the draw aspect, they seem to fight more when they've got a draw to try and win it and either lose it or win it. It just seems to not quite settle on that draw line for either of these teams, I think. Sheffield United, certainly they've had one or two really strange defeats. Sunderland 2-1 defeat away, a Cardiff home defeat 1-0, and of late 3-0 a 3-0 defeat at home to Hull. They just don't seem to be, I know he said, the manager came out and said, we've got lots of injuries, but you've got an ex-Premier League side that's come down. You should be able to collect pretty much top 10 players together for a team that should be beating some of these teams that you're losing against. So I would say that their confidence levels have slightly dipped of late. And I tell you what, some of the things that I've noticed from Sheffield United side is, there's one-touch football that we see in the Premier League. Sheffield United used to do that, and they used to do it in the first sort of 10, 15, possibly 20 games. I've seen Sheffield United's front line do second touches, third touches, and you're thinking, just cross the bloody ball in. So it's frustrating me with Sheffield United. And I know I'm a Rotherham fan, I shouldn't care about Sheffield clubs, but it just annoys me when you see the player, cross it, first touch, cross, and he goes tap, cross. You've lost it. You've lost the point. The defender's got in front of you, and he goes out for a corner. You've just lost that surprise element of surprise. However, Sheffield United are proving a better, still providing better quality. And I think the quality of those last three games from Sheffield United, even that 3-0 defeat to Hull, is still a step ahead of Derby County's. However, Derby County don't really go for the massive defeats. Although 6 games ago, Sheffield Wednesday 4, Derby County 2. So they did let 4 in then. However, on the whole, they don't. So I don't think it's going to be a massively big scoring event. Do I think that Derby will score? Yes, I do. I think I'm going to have to go for one of the most boring scores ever. I'm going to go for Derby County 1, Sheffield United 2. How boring is that? I hate doing 2-1 scores. So we go to Hull City versus Stoke, and have Hull managed to pull themselves out of this, or was that win against Sheffield United just a flash in the pan and down to the injuries that Sheffield United have been saying they've got? If we look at them, Hull 19th, Stoke City in 20th. I would say this, if you look at the again, we're looking at the draws really. Stoke City 6 wins, 11 draws, 12 defeats. Hull City 7 wins, 8 draws, 14 defeats. Not very much difference, but that figure of draws for Stoke City just seems to be being pushed up of late more than it was. So at the beginning of this season, they really didn't draw that many, but of late they seem to have drawn quite a lot, as we'll see from the last 6 results. For Hull City, it's been lose, draw, win, lose, win. And for Stoke City, it's draw, win, draw, lose, draw. The draws have been against Burnley, damn good draw. Plymouth, perhaps not. West Brom, very good draw, and it was at the Drawthorns. And Oxford, which is obviously Oxford. They've been up and down, haven't they? They've started playing quite well, so it's probably a good draw for them. And then you got the Hull City last time out, 3-0 to Sheffield United, which really does scupper my thoughts altogether. It's a difficult one for me because I know that Hull City can do well. Certainly they did excellent at the weekend. Will that... And they're at home, and that was away. This should really drive the performance up, shouldn't it? The enthusiasm from the supporters surely will be an awful lot better after winning against Sheffield United. And they both need to win because they're both 2 points ahead of the relegation zone. They have to win this game because they're both down there. If any game is winnable, this one has to be seen as a winnable game. The problem is that we've got two teams that are going to be thinking the same thing. Much like one of the games we saw further up there, I think it was Watford game, wasn't it? I think that they're both wanting to win. They're both needing to win. Will they turn up and will they make sure they win, or will they make sure they don't lose? That's my quandary. So I've got two scores, I think, for this one. I think that it's likely that they'll both try not to lose this one. In which case, I think this will turn out to be Hull City 1, Stoke 1. He said another team then. Comment down below if you can tell which one I was going to say. Do go on. Comment also if you disagree with my predictions. Obviously, I'm going to bracket something because I just think that Hull City at home, and because they won Sheffield United, may just have that drive and the support from the home supporters, which doesn't always appear at Hull, but I think it might do this weekend, and it might just turn the game. If it does, it could very well be a sort of 2-1. But we're going to go. I think we'll go with a draw from this one. Now we go on to the Leeds-Cardiff game, and we've got Leeds in first place, Cardiff in 18th. Leeds don't always win all their games. Draw, win, draw. Who are they drawing against? Blackburn with a run of the green, Hull City and Burnley. So they're all over the league. Any league seems to be able to at least take a couple of a point or so away from them. Cardiff City, draw, win. They seem to have just got themselves into a position where, we can do this. But who have they won against? Sheffield United, 1-0 away at Sheffield United. Now, we've just seen one that's done the same. Sheffield United seem to be blipping of late. And did they just happen to catch them when all these injuries had probably started at that point? Or was it just a bad performance by Sheffield? Or was it a really great performance by Cardiff? I thought Cardiff played quite well. So I think it's a little bit of both. Or a little bit of all three. The other game they won was 3-0 was Swansea. They played really well there. And of course that's the South Wales derby, isn't it? So it's all drummed up and fired up and it was. I remember seeing it. There was lots of heavy tackles, and I think, how the hell did they get away without a yellow card for that? And he started pulling out the yellow cards in the second half. And that was quite a meaty, feisty game, should we say? And then Derby County 2-1 home win of late, but Derby just seemed to have got into that doldrums. So I think it's a mixture of both. That some of it's been their own good play, and some of it's been they've just hit the right team, or the right team at the right time. Leeds United, I think, will win this one. They're at home. If the only other solution here, I think, would be a draw. They could draw it. And they have had a couple of draws in a row. They recently had Blackburn followed by Hull, so perhaps it could be a draw. I can see this one. This one could be a draw, But I don't think that Leeds will go 2 games without scoring. I just can't see it. They are a quality side, and they've made sure that they've got quality all the way through the team. I think that it's going to be Leeds 3, Cardiff 1. I think Cardiff will score. That they could keep this down to a 1-1. I don't think they will. I think it's going to be Leeds 3, Cardiff 1. And we'll move on to the next game. So we go to Millwall QPR, and this is one of those stereotypical times when you've got Millwall doing reasonably well, not as well as at home as what they were doing at the beginning of the season. It now seems to be... I mean, the last 2 wins were away from home. Away to Luton 1-0, away to Portsmouth 1-0. But they didn't actually play all that well. They certainly didn't put as many in the back of the net as I thought they would do. QPR, on the other hand, 1 place ahead. Of late, they've won 4 out of their last 6 games. Leicester City in the FA Cup, they lost 6-2. Really, they are a Premier League side. They can and have spent money to try and stay in there. Sheffield Wednesday, though, they lost in Sheffield Wednesday, but Sheffield Wednesday have been a bit, they can be quite a difficult team to beat, and you either have the game plan to beat them, or your game plan just will fall apart. There doesn't seem to be any middle line to it. I think that QPR just have the edge for me. They just have that ability to pull back in times of distress where they're being hammered, and they're having to pull all the way back and play really deep. QPR have that ability to just put everybody in the box, and they defend absolutely staunchly as a team. Really do. I've seen some really good defensive work from... I've seen some really crap defensive work from... But on the whole, it seems to work, I think, more often than what Millwall's attempts do. So I'm going to go with Millwall 1, QPR 2, and we'll quickly move on. So let's do Portsmouth-Burnley. And again, this is one of those things, I could see this going 2 ways. I can see... I think... If you look at Portsmouth, lose, win, lose. They're 2 wins. Middlesbrough at home and Stoke City at home. They play really good at home. Now, the last game was at home to Millwall, and I actually thought they did extremely well in the first few minutes, and then they just seemed to disappear. So, I think I edge towards Portsmouth being really good at home, and I know they're really good at home, and they're just down the road as well. So all the fans are saying, look, we're great at home, it's just away from home we're absolute garbage. The defence can be a little bit, where's that gone? They got Colin Bramall from us. Will he appear in the game? Will he not? Obviously from Arsenal, so he's actually quite good, and he's got really good pace. So he sits at the back on the left, and he if he gets the ball in defence, he'll probably take it all the way down the wing to the advanced midfield, give it to them and run back. His pace is phenomenal, so watch out for him in the next game. They're playing Burnley. Obviously, draw, win, draw, win, draw. They don't seem to lose many, but if you look at the table and you look at their figures, won 15, drawn 12, and lost 2. They don't lose many, do they? Wow! So they must be losing the points somewhere. It's the draws. It's physically the draws. The only one that's anywhere near them up there is West Brom, and obviously the Drawthorns. I have to choose Burnley. They are the better side. But they seem to play when they win. Burnley, they seem to win by a couple of goals. I would say Portsmouth 0, Burnley 2. However, this could be a 1-1 draw because if Portsmouth can sort that defence out, and with them being at home, I could see this being a draw. But we're going to go with a Burnley win. So we go to another side now that's really good at home, and I do mean really good at home. Sheffield Wednesday. Sheffield Wednesday versus Luton. Sheffield Wednesday are all the way up to 10th. And when I started this, I did a prediction right at the beginning. I said that Sheffield Wednesday could be in the top 6. I think they will be. I still think they will be. 41 points, equal 8th. They're in 10th. They're equal 8th though. Only 3 points behind 5th place West Brom. So, yeah, they're knocking on the door, aren't they? But we've got Luton in 23rd on 26. We have to look at the recent form, don't we? Sheffield Wednesday, win, draw, lose, draw, win. The last 3 home games have been a 4-2 win at home to Derby, a 2-2 draw at home to Millwall, and a 2-2 draw at home to Bristol City. On that, you would say it could quite easily be a draw. However, Luton Town just don't seem to be clicking at all. I mean, a 1-0 defeat, a 2-1 defeat, a 2-0 defeat, a 0-0 draw against Preston, and they're actually doing quite well. So that's a blip. They had a good performance on that day. A 3-2 defeat away at Oxford, and actually they had a really good, staunch display, should we say. I think it was brilliant. Don't think it was brilliant. I think it was good. It was staunch. It was solid. They just got that 1-goal defeat away. And then at home, a 1-0 defeat to Millwall. You know, I don't think they've got... They're not shining. They're not proving to me that they are improving. And because of that, I think that that Sheffield Wednesday must be the favourites here. I think it's just, will they turn a draw into a win? And I think they will. I think it's going to be, and I hate saying that being a Rotherham fan, but I think it's going to be Sheffield Wednesday 3, Luton Town 0. And we'll quickly move on. If you disagree with that, do please tell me and we can discuss it in the comments. So let's go to Swansea versus Coventry. And Swansea versus Coventry. We have Coventry in 12th, Swansea in 17th. Swansea have been pretty poor of late. We've got to remember they're only 5 points above Portsmouth in 21st. Swansea City lose, draw, lose. And, 2 of them were 3-0, one of them was 4-0, one of them was 5-1. When they lose, they seem to just collapse. And that's all in the last 6 games. Whereas they're playing Coventry just above them. But they're playing a lot better Coventry recently, haven't they? They've just turned it. The change of manager, we've waited for that change, haven't we? Of style and see whether it works. And it has. I don't like that. I don't enjoy their play. I don't enjoy the new style. However, it is working. Draw, lose, draw, win. It's not getting a great number of goals. But I think this is one of those games where Swansea are really wanting to try and get a win. But will they? I just can't see it. They're playing a team with their tails up, Coventry, and I can't see the Coventry train stopping anytime soon. I'm going to go Swansea 1, Coventry 2. I will change. I am going to do the game on Monday at 8 o'clock. Borough Sunderland. And the reason why is because it's Borough Sunderland. It's quite an interesting game, isn't it? Now, Borough, win, draw, lose, win, lose. They do seem to be... There's like 1, 2, 3 goals in them. And they don't seem to draw many. And if you look at the table, they don't. But some of them draw a couple more. But not really overly drawing games. This is going to go one way or the other. Sunderland, win, lose, draw, win, draw. There's not an awful lot in these, is there? Which side is going to win? If it's almost begging a 2-1 win. And I know I don't like doing 2-1s, but it's going to be 2. I just see 2-1 in this. I just can't see where. If Burris turn up, they can win this one. But they just don't seem to have turned. There's a lot of times when certainly Sky have been saying they have not turned up. They haven't turned up. It's as if the opposition is just playing great football and Borough have just sort of thrown on their reserves. And for that reason, I have to go Sunderland. I'm going to go with Borough 1, Sunderland 2, and that is the end of it. John Esser Sports Channel over and out for one more championship prediction. Please do like and subscribe. Please do comment down below. Try not to dislike it just because I don't like. I've given you a scoreline that you don't like. Discuss it like grown fans down below, and we'll have a chat about it. John Esser Sports Channel over and out for one more prediction video.